go.
And Skubie don'ts. Because my girl is out there tossing weight like she's one of the boys. That's what I'm talking about. And we gonna call that one a Scooby-Doo.
Not only is this dangerous,
he's dead. He's never to be seen again. You know, he's like Ichabod Crane, gone in a cloud of smoke.
What are you doing? You knew you weren't supposed to do that.
I apologize.
Get down, Indiana Jones.
This is a good, at least
three.
At least three. There we go.
Unbelievable.
It's his fault, Duke.
1 through 5 here. I mean, are we good with this order? Or are we shift them around?
You know, I actually kind of like the way that we played out here right now. I mean, this is really good. We showed a lot of love to different positions, right? Which is most importantly, we got the one defensive guy out there, guys. You guys were lazy.
I told our players, you need to be more like a dog. That man next to you is a dog.
Is showing him something out of nothing. Touchdown, Alabama.
Dog.
Touchdown. Cool, calm, and collected. Michael Penix Jr.
Dog.
Touchdown. Jaden Gibson.
Dog.
Here's the best tight end in the country, Brock Bowers.
Bro, how about the dogs? We don't need no meows. We don't need no cats. We need more dogs.
Alpha dogs, mount up.
Yes.
Straight wins, back-to-back national champions. What's it coming down the track? It's the mean machine in the red and black. Ain't nothing finer in the land than a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan. Go Dogs! Go Dogs! Alabama to break home.
Conference championship week is here, everybody. Last chance for teams to make an impression with the final rankings being released tomorrow. Welcome to the College Football Show presented by AT&T. Alongside a couple of my best friends, Matt Sims, Skubie, Mageza. I'm Sam Ravech. It is great to have you along with us. So much going on right now as we speak. Alabama is driving in the SEC championship game. They are down to the 1-yard line right now after Georgia just scored. We want to hear from you guys as well in the YouTube chat. Let us know what you think. We're going to be talking about a whole host of things. We'll talk all the conference championship games, and we, of course, will talk about the implications of said games and what it means for the committee. But before we get into everything, guys, we got to talk about this game. I mean, this has lived up to the billing, right? I mean, it's the 4th time that these two teams have met in the SEC championship game. Been well documented that Alabama has won the previous 3, 29-game win streak on the line for Georgia, and right now, as it stands, Alabama with a 3-point lead. However, it was ruled that Isaiah Bond, I believe, was just downed at the 1-yard line. It was originally
just
ruled
got
a touchdown.
overturned.
But wow, what do you make of this game so far?
Okay, so just so y'all know, because you're going to be with us, and we're also college football fans, we have a TV literally right under the camera.
Yes.
And we're watching the game. Isaiah Bond just short, but them dogs are in trouble, Matt. They're in trouble.
They totally are, and you know, it's like you're not even here right now because all I want to do is watch this game right now. So, but I got to do my job.
We got to work.
I know, but I don't give a damn about you. I just want to watch this game because I just love football so much. But that's me. I'm just being a nerd right now.
Well, okay, but what are the takeaways so far? I mean, this has been back and forth, right?
All right, the takeaway I think is real simple. Whoever wins this game, can we really say that both of them are out?
Fair.
You know, and that is if Alabama wins, right?
Yeah.
Are we really going to say that the SEC isn't going to have a representative in the college football playoff after this game if Alabama ends up pulling off this unbelievable victory because they've been impressive today?
All right, as Sam said at the top of the show, we're going to be looking at the YouTube chat, and I'm just checking it out right now, what you're saying. And, guys, I'm going to toss this question out to you.
Yeah.
DM said, if Alabama wins, then I think Texas should still make it over them because they beat Alabama head-to-head, and it was in Tuscaloosa. I don't tend to agree with that because the committee's job is to put in the best teams in the country. However, it's going to be tough to argue with that. After seeing what Texas did today, they put up almost a 50-burger against Oklahoma State. But I think we all kind of expected them, Matt, to dog walk Oklahoma State.
Right.
And they did exactly what we needed them to do. But it's hard to look at this Alabama team and the way that they're performing right now, and they just scored a touchdown, for them not to get in.
Roydell Williams
Texas
with the touchdown right there from the 1 yard line. And this is my point, I guess, with this whole discussion that we're having. We know for sure that Washington is in, right? They're in. There's no doubt about it. Okay. Now Michigan, if they take care of business,
they'll be in.
They're in, right? Alabama beats Georgia. Georgia is out. They're done.
I don't know, Matt. I don't know.
They're done. They're
Chat,
done.
what y'all think?
Alabama
think so.
is in, and now this is the problem.
Who gets in over Georgia?
If Florida State wins, they still might be out, even though they're undefeated and the ACC champion, and Texas and Alabama go in against Washington and Michigan. That's what's crazy and unfortunate about this, because I think the strength of schedule for both those other teams might weigh more heavily in the viewpoint of the College Football Playoff Committee.
This is all so great, and I promise we're going to talk about all of it as the show goes on.
I still want to go on about this because I got a lot to say, but we'll get back to what you just said right there.
Hey, pause.
Scubie's gonna get let loose a little later on in the show. But guys, we did have a Big 12 title game go on earlier today. Texas needing to make a statement over Oklahoma State in this game because they're on the outside looking in, like you said, and this is going to be a hotly contested debate over the next couple of hours. First quarter, Texas already up 7, and they bring out the double reverse pass there. Oh no, this is the big man. This is Sweat with the touchdown.
With the little Heisman too. Good for him, man.
Big man sweating in there.
Right, then we go to the second quarter here. Texas continue to blow the game wide open. That's Jaden Blue out of the backfield. And we go to the third quarter. You know, when we thought that Jonathan Brooks went down for the season, indeed he did, we were wondering what this running back room will look like. We get introduced seemingly to a new running back every single week. And Robinson there, Kalen Robinson putting it away. He had a great game.
We got the Undertaker,
we got the Undertaker there, WWE in the house, and Texas rolls over Oklahoma State. It's their first conference title in 13 years. It was the longest stretch in program history without one. They did exactly what we thought they needed to do. And they went out and took care of business. But let me ask you this, Maddie. Did this game do enough to put them in regardless of what happens throughout the country?
I'm not going to say regardless. But, man, it looked really good. All right? It really did. And this is where it is, too. Like, Texas, as far as their skill group on offense, Quinn Ewers, how he played, the defensive line, how physical they are, the overall team speed of this football team, it really looked like at times that they were like almost messing around with Oklahoma State. You know, and the one thing that Texas missed out on today was the fact that they weren't able to avenge their loss and play against Oklahoma and beat Oklahoma the way that they beat Oklahoma State today.
Would it change your opinion if they did what they did today against Oklahoma?
Totally. And I think it would have changed everyone's opinion that's, has a vote and who is a fan at home, that if they would have beaten Oklahoma today the way that they beat Oklahoma State, we'd all be like, yeah, that's right. Oklahoma just kind of won in a big rivalry game, and that's how those games go sometimes. But I look at that game today, and I see one of the best 4 teams in the country. Now, I'm not sure if they're 1, 2, 3, or 4, but I know they're one of the 4 as I watch them.
Guys, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. 1 second. I got a call.
You getting a phone call?
Yeah.
In the middle of the
Who's
show.
calling?
It's Steve Sarkisian.
What'd he say?
He was dialed in today.
He was? He just wanted to let you know he was dialed in.
Yeah.
What else did he say?
I'll tell him. 662 yards of total offense. Yeah, that's the most by a Power 5 team since 2013, right?
That's a lot.
They were absolutely locked in on the offensive side. You got your quarterback throwing a career high in passing yards and a career high in passing touchdowns. Right?
Tell him.
When your offense is able to go off the way that they did. When the Big 12 had the WWE coming in with the collab, The Undertaker was there. I wish The Rock was there because then he could be the people's champ. But with the way that Texas played in this game, it is hard not to look at them and say they don't deserve to get in. However, I look back into that game against them in Alabama in week 2, and it is hard for me to say that Alabama is the same team that they were then. Now, the reason why we were able to bring up the the idea of Alabama getting in over Texas is because towards the end of the season, Texas did not play that well. However, the last 2 games, Texas has been balling out of control. Now, let's keep in mind, at the end of this game, who was in a boot and had a foot problem? Worthy.
Yeah.
Worthy had an injury, which I think could be detrimental. Maybe that's something the committee talks about. I don't know.
Worst case
I'm just
scenario,
finding, like, at this point, we're splitting hairs.
You're right. And this is where, all right, Xavier Worthy might be banged up. You're playing in a New Year's Bowl, so he's got a whole month to get ready, right? Yeah. And dude is an absolute game changer for them. He absolutely is. Adonai Mitchell, what he does on the outside.
He over 100 yards
As you
today.
said, the whole group of running backs, each one of them is explosive and a game breaker. Sarkisian, too, called, I think, one of his better games of the season. So when it mattered most, Texas, I think, brought it all together and really showed us what they are capable of. Now, the question will be, does Florida State do that? Does Florida State struggle tonight against Louisville? If they do, does that change our opinion, even if they do end up winning that game and being undefeated?
All right,
so a lot of questions to be answered.
Marissa Ruiz said Texas is absolutely capable of beating any of the top 4 teams.
I agree, Maria.
They don't always play up to the talent, but right now they look great. Sam, thoughts on that by Marissa? He said, I told y'all, we in the YouTube
Marissa,
chats. Yeah, so thoughts on that?
Well, I think everybody got a physics lesson today in what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, because the unstoppable force being Ollie Gordon, and he went up against 2 immovable objects
Hey, that's a
in
fact.
that defensive line, right, with Tavondre Sweat and Byron Murphy II. And I think we got to talk about this defensive line. We had a lot of guys up there for Texas that are going to be playing on Sundays, and they held the leading rusher in the entire country to, 34 yards on 14 carries.
Dude,
I mean,
Benda, Byron Murphy, Travonde Sweat. Like, these guys are athletic, they're physical, they dominate the line of scrimmage, and the back end matches what they do in their physicality on the front 7. And that's where I feel like this is the team that can match up, toe-to-toe with the Michigan and play a physical brand of football. But they can also do a great job of playing against a team like Washington, who's high-powered and wants to spread the field out and make you to force decisions in the run game or pass game. I feel like Texas really does a great job of kind of playing to multiple strengths, just like how we said, heard Sarkisian say late in the interview.
And another thing, because we did just ask this poll question in the YouTube chat, does Ohio State still have a chance to get in? Matt.
Did Brock Bowers just catch that football?
Yeah, that was
ridiculous.
Yeah. We're watching the game, so we're going to be
What was your question? I totally blanked out.
Does Ohio State deserve a chance to get in?
No.
Thomas Porter thinks Ohio State
is
in if Georgia loses.
All right.
Thomas, no.
Well,
in my opinion. My humble
Thomas,
opinion.
I appreciate your fandom. Ohio State, they got a lot of good things going for them. They're going to play in a New Year's Bowl, but there's no doubt that they are not one of the top 4 teams in the country from what we've seen the past few days and the past week. You had an opportunity versus Michigan, and unfortunately, you didn't make the 3 or 4 plays that you needed to. And you're just, as far as a talent level from top to bottom on your roster, I don't think that you really can compete with some of these other teams that we're looking at right now.
All right, so Texas wins the Big 12 title on their way out to the SEC next week. And the Big 12 commissioner, Brett Yormark, had a couple of choice words for Texas earlier in the season, and he had to take a little bit of his own medicine. Take a listen.
Look at that as love. Hold on. Okay, first of all.
Payback. All right, Oregon taking on Washington for the Pac-12 title game. We'll start in the first quarter. Washington up 3-0, and Dylan Johnson is going to take this handoff, and he's going to have more beef in front of him than a cow herder. Touchdown. Huskies lead 10-0. We go to the second quarter now.
Oh, man, right there.
2 things here, and I want to hear from you, Matt. All right, so check out the block by Dylan Johnson, and then the throw from Michael Penix to Jalen McMillan. This play looks as good as a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, my boy.
I mean, look at first of all, the block is great, but then he retreats back in the pocket, and then just this pirouette as he's throwing the football. It's absolutely ridiculous how good of a throw this play was. And great play design. Deep in cut with the high pylon route over the top. Great play call, great execution.
Yeah, next play. How about Dylan Johnson getting a passing touchdown to Jeremy Bernard on the stat sheet? Washington takes an early 14-point lead. The Ducks had 9 yards of offense in the first quarter, and they had to get it going. So down 17, Terrence Ferguson. Ooh, who needs 2 when you got 1 hand, son? Oregon cuts the lead to 10, third quarter, same score. Jordan James takes the handoff untouched, and it's starting to get spicy. Oregon takes their first lead, fourth quarter. Johnson gets the handoff and plows his way into the end zone the same way that Georgia just did in their game. We're watching both and we're calling the highlights. Washington jumps back in the front. Later in the fourth, after a Husky touchdown to make it a 10-point game with under 2.5 left to play, Treason Henderson answers the call. Bye, Felicia. 63-yard touchdown pass from Bo Nix. Oregon would attempt an onside kick but would not recover, so they need a stop or it's over. And Dylan Johnson says, my power is beyond your understanding. Slides for the first down. He had 152 yards rushing.
Really smart.
Game blouses.
Really smart football play right there. And that's what's so great, I feel like, about Washington. You could say that Oregon is the more talented football team. You know what? They probably are in a lot of facets on the football field. But Washington, the better coach football team right there. And even just Dylan Johnson sliding there at the end right there is just a great example of how detailed they were in this football game and how coaching really was the big separation. I thought Will Stein did a much better job in this game of having a better game plan in the low red zone area, which allowed Oregon to get back in the game and have some creative play calls. But, man, Grubb and his play calling on the offensive side for Washington, dude, if I'm a head coach and I'm struggling on offense, I'm like, man, how much money you want? I'm going to give you a free NIL to this and this, and we're gonna change our program like that, because the stuff that they do formationally, the creativity, the space that they create for all of their playmakers, and McMillan being back. Yo, there's some bad dudes on Washington.
Grubb got himself paid.
He did.
With the way that he was calling in plays. I said Sarkisian was dialed in, so was Grubb. He was very much dialed in the game. And I think another thing that you look at with this Washington offense, they were able to put long drives together, which is a great defense for your defense as well, right?
Yeah.
Because you're able to keep that Oregon offense off the field. Oregon had 2 straight punts for their first 2 possessions, and Washington had long drives to get up by 2 scores.
Totally.
So they were dialed in with their play calling. They were aggressive, and they can make certain play calls because Michael Penix can make throws like this.
I just can't tell
is
you
different,
how
bro.
difficult that is right there, some of the throws. And then all the catches that they make, too, for him. But we can't underestimate, too. Michael Penix might have won the award, right? But we all know who the real MVP of this game was.
Thank you. I love that you brought that up.
Johnson. Now, I love quarterback play.
I was lazy, people.
I love quarterback play. I really do. But this dude, I mean,
special.
Look what he was doing to other grown individuals on the field. He was bodying them consistently, sacrificing his body. Great reads. Look at the patience following his block and then finishing runs. That stuff wears a defense out to the point where at the end of the game, you see people, they're like, nah, I really don't want to tackle you, bro, because you already smacked me once, and I'm supposed to be the ones tackling. So Dylan Johnson, shout out to you. You're the MVP of our hearts.
Yeah, real tough.
All right?
And to your point, he was looking for contact in that game.
He was searching it out.
Right?
Totally.
He was looking for it. However, the offensive line was also looking for contact. The Washington offensive line probably had their best game of the entire season.
They did.
Alone from the USC game because they were really dominant in that. But Dylan Johnson had 152 yards rushing. 89 of those yards were before contact, right? And they were able to keep Michael Penix protected. The way that they were playing this game is exactly everything that they needed. And the offensive line was emotional getting off the field towards the end because they knew that they were dialed in. Now, the Oregon defense, I expected a little bit more from you, and it just seemed like they were on their heels the whole game.
Right.
Man.
They totally were. They really never had a great feel for what Washington was trying to do, how they were being attacked, and they really had no answer for it. When they tried to be extra physical and bring pressure, we saw those plays by Penix taking advantage of that stuff. stuff with those voids on the back end. So just a phenomenal performance by everyone involved in that. With McMillan healthy, with Polk out there, with the Dunze, and even Giles Jackson, who's a guy that's very underrated. He only had one catch in the game, but this is a guy that is another problem as far as matching up with him if you're playing zone or man coverage or go with zone pressure. So Washington is a very unique football team that I was always hesitant to really be all in with all year. But when you see them play the way that they did, last night, it's kind of hard not to fall in love with this football team.
No, I agree with you. And that may be the best Washington, or at least the version that we have seen all year long, even in the prior game when they won over Oregon.
Sorry.
Go ahead,
great play from. I'm watching. Jalen Milroe just made a great play.
We're multitasking. And by multitasking, we're doing
right
nothing.
now. We're at a crucial part of the game, guys.
Yeah.
We're approaching the 2 minutes in the game. Alabama is up by 3. Jalen Milroe just busted out a huge run, and instead of going out of bounds, he slid inbounds purposely. So they just crossed the midpoint of the field. This thing is getting spicy like some Chipotle with some extra hot sauce. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't. No, I'm kidding.
It just seems like every time Alabama gets it to a 2-score game, Georgia has an answer. I mean, and we saw Kendall Milton run for 156 yards last week, which was a season high for him. He's already got 2 touchdowns in this game. So, they're figuring some stuff out.
Let me say this, right? Because the question was, if Alabama blows out Georgia, everyone's like, all right, Georgia, you're done for. But right now, it's looking like 3 or 6 point loss.
Who thought that Alabama would blow out Georgia in the first place?
Right?
Maybe you with the way you've been picking.
You're still tossing it out there, right? You're
That's
still
true.
tossing it out there.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's like, all right, is Georgia going to get left out if they lose this game? You said you're taking them out. Sam?
I think there's a chance.
Look,
Georgia still has a top 5 strength of record, which the committee likes. They love the numbers.
And they love the
At
SEC.
this point, if Alabama is out, if Georgia is out, Texas, you got to put them out as well, because then we'll end up with no SEC teams, and we know that ain't happening in college football, y'all.
Because the SEC will literally be like, we're leaving. Right? We don't need you anymore.
I'm taking my ball and I'm going home.
That's right.
Greg Sankey said as much this morning on College Game Day, where he said one is better than the other, different than the other. He was claiming the SEC
Sesame Street.
Right. He was making Sesame Street references on Game Day, which was great. But let me say this too about Georgia, and it's the small things that you have to keep an eye on. The fact that Tennessee was ranked in the most recent poll gives Georgia the 3 top 25 ranking wins, because Tennessee, as a 4-loss team, ranked in the top 25 means a lot. You know who wasn't ranked was Utah, and that was going to come into play if Oregon won. They didn't.
Right.
But because Georgia has one of the best strength of records, and because that Tennessee team was ranked, that means a whole heck of a lot. We're under 2 minutes to play in this game. The first down.
Jalen Milroe.
For Jalen Milroe.
That's how you run it.
Can you believe they benched this man?
He just put the game on ice.
Unbelievable.
Is that ice? How many times I think
I think the game's on ice. They're in field goal range.
Hey, he might play for the Crimson Tide, but that man's a dog, all right? He is a dog, all right? Who is right? He's a diamond dog. Ted Lasso, you my man. I love you.
So Jalen Milroe, by the way, on the ground, he's rushed it 13 times in this game. He's carried it 13 times for 20 yards. That one may have just iced the game.
And Georgia no timeouts. Georgia has no timeouts. Alabama has 3. And you saw the type of defense Georgia was playing today. 3 down linemen sometimes with 2 QB spies. I mean, it is not looking good.
Georgia's only got 1 timeout left. They got 1 timeout.
I want chaos. Now FSU win. FSU win your game. Now Alabama's gonna win.
Captain Chaos.
That's what we want.
No, this is and this is why college football is fun. Did you pick Georgia?
No.
You picked Georgia.
We'll get to that in a second.
Oh,
I promise. We'll get.
I don't like being right. I love it.
I
love it. Okay. All right.
He picked Alabama. If you're wondering,
I'm looking smart.
So,
I don't know.
All right. So let's say Alabama wins this game. A lot of people thought they would. Does the way that Georgia played help their case? Because they're going to be a 1-loss team that has won a lot of games, and Georgia has claim to something that nobody else in the country can lay claim to.
What's that?
They're the back-to-back defending national champions. I know the committee isn't going to look at that, but the fact that they've won 29 of the last 30 games.
We appreciate what you've done in the past.
He said
we are you got to prove it to us now type of business.
So they got to go.
What you did yesterday
They
means
got to go.
nothing today. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Toodles. Yes.
All I want to, this right here, right? This is what's left. This is where the drama
is everything.
This is everything. And quite frankly, I'm looking in right now in the group, and a bunch of people are saying FSU is out. Like people are already writing them out of this game.
This doesn't help them.
No,
this doesn't help.
No, it doesn't, unfortunately.
Because
But
if
they need
Georgia
to win
wins,
to make it
Alabama's
crazy.
out.
And that's what's kind of crazy, though, too. And I want us to stop using that word, deserving. They deserve it. No, you earn it in football, okay? You earn it in our way of life.
Well,
They're kneeling the ball. This is it.
This is it. This is going
is
to be
it.
it. Alabama is going to have won 4 out of 4 SEC championship titles against Georgia, and very well may have punched their ticket to the college football
I'm getting a number 4
college
Alabama
football.
jersey.
Yeah, I kind of
semifinal.
want one too. You feel me? Like,
Man, 4 looks clean in Alabama. Crimson
By the way,
red.
before we move on, there's not an award for story of the year in college football.
Jalen Milroe.
But if there was, I mean, Jalen, have we seen anything like this before in college football, where a guy is named the starter at the start of the season, right? He has a bad game against Texas. He gets benched.
Yeah.
He gets benched in the USF game.
Yeah, Nick Saban was like, no, Tommy Reese. We're going to go back with Jalen Milroe.
And then he does this. I mean, this is unbelievable what he's done.
And the other thing is to remember, too, is that I don't care who the assistants are at Alabama. You know who's there as the head coach? Nick Saban. And when Nick Saban is the head coach, you always got a chance to win. Unbelievable. What a performance.
This is the final score. It has gone final. Alabama and Nick Saban, by the way, who was 11-1 now in conference championship games going back to his time at LSU.
That's
27-24. Unbelievable. And look, guys, this was an even game. I mean, it was going back and forth.
A great game.
You know what the difference was? Georgia missed a field goal in this game.
Great point.
Georgia missed a field goal.
Off the upright. What was that, first quarter? It was early in the first half.
In the first half,
like,
yeah.
But, you're right. And this is where just like, complimentary football, it's cliche and it's a line that I think is overused, but at the same time, Alabama really displayed exactly what complimentary football is all about. They're not special on any aspect of their team as far as like, we know they do this. And they found a way to win, a different way to win, it seemed like, in every game that they won this year.
yeah, and shout out to the YouTube chat once again. We're checking it out. Continue to comment, interact. Riv said, if Alabama wins the SEC, then Texas has an automatic playoff spot. Texas fans are going to
They're going to hammer
be
that.
making their case
They are.
at this
And you
point.
know what?
They
They
should.
should.
Yeah.
Credit them for scheduling it.
No doubt.
I have been a Texas doubter all year. One, because, I had to be a villain for someone,
Had to be the Texas fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And my brother went to Texas, so of course I have like a soft part in my heart for Texas and what they're about, right? But just, the thing is, they had the courage to go to Tuscaloosa and play them, and they won. And we really should not discredit that at all. When everyone else is playing, FCS teams in their extra games that they have, Texas said, we're going to go play one of the best teams in the whole country each and every year on their home field. They did it. They won, and we should really give them an extra star for them, in that case.
Yeah, for sure. And, I don't know, man. The way that Alabama has been playing from, probably the last like 5, 6 games.
Yeah. September and October, they were
It's hard for me to.
okay. Yeah.
Texas has looked more like one of the top 4 teams starting last week, because you even said it on the show once, Matt. You're like, they haven't looked dominant all year.
Right.
There's other teams that have looked dominant in the season. And Alabama, to close out, they were handling their business. They were standing on business. Now, I know that the Auburn game, we needed the Milroe miracle for that, but I'm going to put an asterisk next to it because it is a rivalry game, is an Iron Bowl. Some crazy things happen over there. But as for Georgia, right, they've been the most elite side of the ball this year, unlike we've seen the last 2 years, is their offensive side. Their offense has been fantastic this season, one of the best in the nation, basically top 10 in every major category. And today they couldn't even reach 100 yards rushing, coming off of a game where their running back had a career game on the ground. So shout out to the Alabama defense, because the Alabama defense has been up to standard all year.
No doubt.
The game where Jalen Milroe was sat out and forced, they went through Ty Simpson, and they're bringing in Tyler Buckner. that defense still stood strong. That
They
defense
totally did.
still handled their business, and then they just needed the offense to bring it up here. And now we're seeing that in this game with Milroe getting the upset over Georgia.
The last time that Georgia had lost a game was in the 2021 SEC championship game. Now, they met again a couple weeks later, and Georgia got the best of Alabama. We'll see if that happens once again this year, but both will have to await their fate. We talked about Florida State a couple moments ago. They have history on the line. Their undefeated season is still up in the air, and Louisville is looking to end it in Charlotte tonight.
There's never been, an expectation from the outside that's bigger than the ones that we have within. And I believe in this team. Obviously, a lot of steps along the journey to be able to accomplish all that I believe that we can.
Coach Norvell and the Seminoles notch a berth in the conference championship game for the first time since 2014.
I'm probably crying that moment because, coming from where we started at my freshman year to now is definitely a major step. And just to end that way, I feel like that would be like I'm going out like how I want to.
Jeff Brom, the job his coaching staff has done to be a team right now that's going to be in their first ACC championship game is amazing in year one.
There's only going to be one champion in the conference at the end of the year.
The ACC championship, just taking that step forward.
That would be huge anytime you win a championship. We've got a lot of really hungry players on our team.
Touchdown, Seminoles!
It's a great celebration anytime you get to hold a trophy, and it's a symbolic part of being able to accomplish what you set out for. I love coaching this team, and to see them finish what we start for, it would be really special.
Toppy mushroom.
Well, all eyes were on backup quarterback Tate Rodemaker last week in their rivalry game against Florida. He got the job done, didn't look great, but what happened was he was injured. He slid, and there was a targeting call, and he came back into the game. Now, we have not heard word. We're told it's a game-time decision as to whether or not he will be the starter for this ACC title game. If he does not, that's the hit. If he does not, then it will be Brock Glenn making his appearance. Now, guys, before we get into this game, I just want to talk about this because I think this is very important. The fact that he came back into this game, it raised a lot of questions. Look, you see him there. He's clearly not right. And he comes back into this game and finishes it out. I'm not going to make any suggestions as to why, but it didn't really seem necessary at the point in time. But wanted to get your thoughts on that before we talk about who we could see in this game.
Where do I start with this situation?
You played quarterback.
I played quarterback. I'm a young father. My father played. My brother played. And when I watch these plays and I hear people talk about how we need to protect the athletes, how we need to protect, their livelihoods, all these things, and then we do things like that. And then I'm like, here we are talking about mental health and protecting young athletes from themselves and all these kind of things. And here's a grown man, sending out this young boy out there back on the football field just to remind the playoff committee that my quarterback's healthy, And it's like, it's not true. If there was a boxing fight is over. Everybody go home. It's done, And I just feel like we did a disservice to him, his family, and really what football and even college football specifically is about, and that's where I feel like, who is the guy that's checking him on the sideline? Because I'm not a doctor, but I don't need to be a doctor to know that he was not on planet Earth there for a short period of time. He was clearly injured and hurt, and something was wrong.
Right.
And we need to do a better job of protecting young men like this.
Go ahead, Scoop.
Okay, so right now what we know for sure is that Tate Rodemaker is in pads throwing pregame. We're set to kick off in about 28 minutes. And Mike Norvell said this is going to come down literally to the last second. Now, the difference between this injury versus other bodily injuries is that it is an injury of the brain, of the head, and he is in the concussion protocol. They confirmed that it was a concussion that he's trying to get through. And for me, if you're a game-time decision and if it's your ankle or your knee, all right, let's see if it swells up. Let's see how it reacts. And then if it's a brain injury, all right, let's see last second how his brain is feeling or how it acts up. I don't know how you necessarily quantify that. Now, Tate Rodemaker, how much of a difference is he going to make for this team? We've only seen him play in one game last year. We saw him play a little bit. And
this was his best game last
year. His
His
best game was against Louisville. But just for the health of the kid, I'm curious as to why we haven't talked about this more. And that's why we needed to make sure we brought it up on the show, because head injuries are serious, man.
Yeah, they're serious. And, there's life after football. I mean, I played football for, longer than most people did, and I'm still, in my 30s. So, there's a lot of life left, in me and for the rest of my family, and thankfully so that I survived. But at the same time, what do we game time decision? What are we waiting on his Flintstone multivitamin to set in tonight?
Yes,
come on, man. We either know or we don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's take the test. If he's good to go, okay, he can play. It's still a little questionable with this quick turnaround, but this whole wait till right before, what advantage are you really gaining?
Guys, in the NFL, only one player who has gone into concussion protocol has been able to play the following week. And we know how violent the NFL game is. Only one player that's gone into the concussion protocol was able to play the following week.
Yeah.
And we saw the hit with Rodemaker. I don't know how – it is a quick turnaround.
And Tate, listen, he was trying to protect himself. Protect yourself sooner and faster next time. Be more deliberate about it. But at the same time, the institution needs to protect him as well.
All right, real quick, because this game is coming up on ABC in just a couple of minutes. A couple of quick keys to the game for both sides. I guess we'll start with you, Matty, in Louisville. I mean, what are some of the must-dos and can't-dos for the game?
All right, so for Louisville, start fast. In the first quarter, they have outscored opponents 97-21, right? And they really need to start fast in this football game, pressure Florida State to try to play outside of controlling the line of scrimmage and running the football consistently, score fast, put Florida State at a disadvantage, and make them and force them to pass the football early.
Yeah, as for Florida State, get Trey Benson and that running game going.
They need to, and Toafili.
Running back by committee, I don't care how you do it. There's a number of different examples that we think back to when quarterbacks are hurt towards the end of the season as a potential college football playoff team, and I've brought this up multiple times. I go back to 2014 with Cardell Jones in Ohio State.
Right.
Ezekiel Elliott finished the back end of the season with over 220 yards in each of those games. Now, when your quarterback goes down, you want to be able to support him with a great running game, with great defense, and then connect with your playmakers. I did not see a connection between Keon Coleman and Tate Rodemaker in their last game. It looked like they were a little bit off. So if he does play, let's make sure that connection is working. The one with Johnny Wilson was. It also looked like the speed of the game was a little bit too fast for Rodemaker.
And rightfully so, being his first time, being the starter.
And now that he has an apparent brain injury, how fast is the game really going to be moving for him?
Well,
but we'll see.
The big thing too for Louisville, right? Florida State, one of has the least turnovers in the nation with only 5 the entire football season. That's a ridiculous stat. Only 2 interceptions all season. So for Louisville, can you force turnovers? Can you force a fumble? Can you create turnovers in the passing game? That'll be a big advantage for them. And can they establish the run game themselves, Louisville? That was something that Kentucky did a great job of really stifling there late in that football game. 67 to, I think, 17 yards in the fourth quarter versus Kentucky in the rushing advantage against them. And this is something that they have to really focus on against Florida State, is being able to run the football and not putting too much pressure on their quarterback.
Yeah, 2 really great defenses as well here. And this game's played outside. It's cold in Charlotte. It's raining today, I think. So that's something to note as well. Let's turn our focus to one of the least talked about conference championship games all week long, and that would be Michigan and Iowa. Because Reese Davis said it earlier on game day. He said, this feels a lot more like a coronation than a competition. Because it feels like everyone's just giving Michigan this game. I'm not going to say Iowa's going to win this game, but it's dangerous when you're going up against a team that has nothing to lose.
I mean, earlier today I was on the radio with Trevor Maddich and Matt Schick, and Trevor Maddich was just like, when Michigan handles business, there's this book called The 4 Agreements, and one of them is don't make assumptions, and it's so true.
Yeah.
Last year, Michigan was supposed to crush TCU, and they blew that game significantly, right? So I know that this is different. It's a different year, but just can we stand on business? Can we handle business first? Yep. Can we get the job done before we just crown them? That's
Are you guys trying to tell me that there might be an upset and potential chaos
here.
No question.
Because, you know, I'm Team Chaos, baby. But I'm excited to see those punters. How are those punters going to be on the field? Listen, Michigan's punter was doing his thing against Ohio State, 52 yards per punt. We know about Iowa's punter, man. Can he kick that ball?
You know what the chat's saying right now? What the hell is this man talking about punters for?
I guess I kind of want to give some credit, too, to Iowa because they go 10-2, and they can't score. I mean, it's amazing that they were able to do that. I want to talk about J.J. McCarthy really quick, too, because he looked a lot more like himself last week. 16 to 20 passes, 150 yards. This is back-to-back weeks now. Michigan's going to have to go up against a top 5 offense. Or, excuse me, top 5 defense, certainly not top 5 offense. What are some of the keys to JJ's game tonight if he's going to want to succeed?
I mean, really, honestly, Michigan, I feel like, doesn't ask him to do much. You know, we were all oohing and awing about one throw that he made over the middle that if the defender just looks at him, he's going to pick it off. Now, he tried to defend it and say that through film and all that stuff, I know when he's, that was all BS, man. Like, a good defender is just going to pick that football off. But for this game, can they wear out Iowa on the defensive line again and just essentially just be the aggressor on the offensive line of scrimmage throughout the football game? And as they continue to do that, do some more play actions. JJ being effective as a runner is as important as him being effective as a passer.
Yeah, there's a bar in Iowa that's doing a special today that is offering free beverages until Iowa scores a point. 1 point. So we'll see how long.
Drink free all night.
We'll see how long.
Let's get in the car, boys.
See how long it will take for Iowa to score tonight against Michigan in the Big Ten title game. All right, it's our last show before the semifinals roll around. So we have put together 6 of the best holy cows of the year. And on the other side, we'll get to 6 of the worst plays that we saw in the bra section. But we start with the best of the best.
They've been good.
And Trey Harris has been one of the best wide receivers, certainly one of the best transfers. Look at this catch, OBJ
Holy
style.
cow!
I don't know about it doing OBJ, but it's like up there with the greats, you know what I mean?
That's a pretty good catch right there.
Good ball, right? I mean, come on. Let's show some love to the quarterback. No, actually, it was really bad throw, but great catch.
We'll show love to a quarterback here at number 5. Caleb Williams, the reigning Heisman, wasn't the best of years down there in L.A., but
what's he doing here, Matt?
He's made a couple of great plays.
Buying time. He's having a little cup of coffee. Harpoon!
He's a whaler, my friend.
Oh, he's a
whaler. Was that Moby Dick?
No more.
It was a great catch as well. Nearly went over his head. But, yeah, Caleb Williams.
Of course.
We'll see him in the NFL playing on Sundays next year. No question about it. How about Stanford and Colorado? This game made Skubie stay up till about 4 in the morning because Alec Iomanner decided to have himself a game.
Late night Pac-12 football. We no longer have this anymore, and I thank you, Iomanner, for giving us this performance on his head. Holy cow!
Just dropping a random holy cow in there. That's exactly right.
He has no manners on that.
All right, we've seen about 100 of these this year. Talk about a kick pick and a kick pick 6 here. Georgia Ball State.
Man.
You got to get a second look at this. Oink.
It was tough to see it when it happened the first time. I was like, what the heck just happened? But, tip balls, kick balls equals pick balls.
Pick balls, that's right.
Kick balls, yeah.
We'll just leave it at that.
We've got a couple of really good wide receivers in the college game, and Keon Coleman is certainly one of them.
Oh, my go gadget arm. Unbelievable right there by Keon Coleman. And this is, sorely missed right here. Jordan Travis, I hope that they can still do some performance down the field with Keon Coleman in this passing attack because these two were special to watch all year.
Yeah, that entire wide receiver group highlighted by Keon Coleman. He made a couple of those plays this year. We break it down to number 1, guys, and this may be the catch of the year. Look at Dayton Wade. Oh, my goodness.
That's better than OBJ.
Okay.
Come on, man. He completely laid out for this one.
I don't know. I still don't know if it's better, but
what?
Because of the moment in the game, they were getting blown out.
He was completely, thank you, I appreciate it. He was completely parallel to the floor.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Parallel. I can't imagine that felt very good. Do you guys have a favorite? Was that the best one?
I'm good with that last one, yeah.
I like the Keon Coleman grab.
Yeah. That was pretty
He climbed the ladder there.
Yeah, that was my favorite one.
Little Spider-Man move right there. Do you know who Miles Morales is?
No.
No?
Should I?
You're not cool.
Whose fans is this?
All right, so now we turn the page to some of the worst that we saw, and we call these what, guys?
Bruh!
Yes, because
just like you not on Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
I don't understand what Shamar Turner was thinking here.
He was thinking he was in the WWE there. This is what he thought.
Oh!
Okay, this is what supervillains do. This is why they need Miles Morales, okay? Because you don't take these type of blows to people in the middle of the game. He's trying to have children.
Maybe. We'll find out. South Carolina State redshirt freshman. This is Dimitri Simmons. Whoop! Banana peel came out.
Oh, this is Mario Kart banana peel? Listen, we've all done some things in the football field, but this one is not something you want to have your name under.
No, probably not. That's going to go on the not so great highlight reel right there for Mr. Simmons. Colorado quarterback here catches his own pass, still behind the line of scrimmage, so he can still throw it, but he decides to throw it to the wrong team.
Oh, man, this is a perfect view of how Colorado sees it went. Everything was going great.
No, it's not.
And then it's like, oh, no. This is bad.
Oh, no, wait. They got a chance. It's looking better.
They might make a bowl game.
Yeah, they got it. No, it's over.
No.
And it ended pretty quickly.
A lot of
My
transfers.
God, was it entertaining.
This is one of the more confounding things that I saw all year long. This highly attended South Carolina Vanderbilt game. And we got a guy swinging something around, and it ends exactly how you think it is.
Oh, yeah, I remember this one. This is one of those.
I wonder what his major is. And you know what's sad, too, is that, like, he laughs at it. It's like you just hit a girl in the face with a towel, and he laughs. I mean, come on, man.
I don't know what the end goal here was.
Apologize.
It's,
you know, hey, kids be kids.
It was a tough year for Ty Simpson in the limited time that we saw him, but this was a highlight that turned into a low light very, very fast. Look at Simpson taking off, and he's going to get seemingly close to the end zone and in the end zone, right?
Cue high voice. I'm going to score. No, you're not.
No.
And we never saw him
again.
Bro.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he gets in the portal as well. This might be
that's a good point.
Last time running for a touchdown for Bama.
That's right. He's still running sprints after that.
This was early on in the season, guys, like week 1, South Carolina, North Carolina. You can smell that just from watching it.
Is that America right there, just wasting food on someone like that in the stand? I mean, geez, that's terrible.
Listen, you got to think he's in a big crowd. You can't go home after this. Who's going to hose you down? You got to be mayoed up the rest of the day.
Pretty bad.
And it's disgusting.
Yeah, I don't think that tastes or smells very good.
No, and it looks like the expiration date was definitely up on that can there. Really got you to laugh.
It is time now for AT&T countdown to the CFP National Championship. And yes, the countdown is on because the final set of rankings will be released tomorrow. But we will jump the committee and we will make our picks now. So you won't even have to look at it because we're all right. We're all right here on the
We don't need the committee.
So, Skubie, we're going to start with you. We got the handy-dandy iPad out. We'll go 4, 3, 2, 1. Your best, because that's what the committee said, best teams right now.
All right, so this is
starting at 4.
This is what I believe.
Yes.
I believe that the 4th best team in the country is gonna be Bama.
Okay.
Bama is in, baby.
Alabama.
Roll Tide. After that type of win against Georgia.
Sorry, that's my bad.
After that type of win, you got to get them in the SEC champion against a back-to-back national champion. Huge win. Jalen Milroe has been playing at a phenomenal level. At number 3.
Yep.
Hook 'em, Texas.
Okay.
Texas is getting in at number 3.
All right.
Yes, I am about that. You gotta have them in if you're gonna put Bama in, and if you want to.
That's the argument.
But right, that's how you gotta have it. In my humble opinion of what I think. So we're gonna go with Texas at number 3, and then at the 2nd spot we are going with Michigan.
You're going Michigan at the 2, so
they in the country.
Hold on, so I think we know who's won here, Scoop.
Yeah, you know what I'm about to do.
I read you.
Yet to see you play. Offense has not been that impressive. And number 1, I'm going to go ahead and rock with Washington. Washington had the most impressive win the other night, last night against Oregon, and I'm going with them for the number 1 undefeated.
A lot of people have said Oregon is playing like the best team in the country. So when you had everyone doubting Washington, they're 9.5-point dogs. They go in and do what they did. I can see it. I can see it. Maddie, what do you think about Scoob's list before we get to yours?
You know, I like this list a lot. There's a lot that I really like about it. Now, my one problem is that we're assuming that they won.
Yes, that is
okay, so I got a problem with that. So for that, just for the sake of this exercise.
No, don't do that.
And also to annoy Michigan fans.
Yeah.
Michigan, number 4.
Wow.
Number 4, just to annoy you at home. Don't take it personally, all right? But you got to win the game first, all right? Then at number 3, Alabama.
You're going Bama 3, okay.
Bama, number 3. SEC champ, you're going bowling.
Shelby, stop hating on my list. Shelby Lacey, it's in the chat.
Play nice,
Shelby, get out of here. We're trying to work.
Number 2 is Texas.
Oh,
number 2.
So you same mindset.
Is
if
Texas.
Alabama gets in, so does Texas.
And then number 1 is Washington. So we get a Washington-Michigan first-round matchup, which I love. And then a Texas-Alabama rematch. Let's go.
I like that. I like that list. I like that list.
That's unbelievable.
We got the same 4, though. We got the same 4.
Yeah, just a different order.
I think everybody's missing somebody here.
Oh, come on.
Who?
You're really going to do that?
Who?
You think they're
Florida
going to win?
State at number 4.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's say they win tonight.
Yeah, let's say it.
Let me just say this before I do the next 3. The committee has said that it's not their job, or it's not in their lexicon, I think was the words they used.
What a word.
To determine who was the most deserving, to your points. They want to say who the best team is.
Yeah.
But they've contradicted themselves, because if that has been the case, how does Cincinnati get into the college football playoff? Was Michigan State one of the best teams in the country in 2015?
Oh,
I can't go back that far.
I'm just saying.
Honestly, with how difficult this year has been, I can't go back to yesterday.
We should all be working off of the same fact sheet and definition.
This has already taken up way too many chromosomes in my, and just everything. The synapses in my brain are ready to burst from Jim Harbaugh in Michigan anyway.
He said I can't go back to yesterday.
It's just too much, man. It's too much. I can't take it.
Listen.
What do you got?
This is a prediction of what I think the committee will do.
That's a fun matchup, though.
This is what I think the committee will do.
All right, so
you can switch Alabama and Washington if you want.
That is the matchup that Michigan wants. So they're gonna get boat raced. This isn't even a fun playoff, Sam. What's fun of this besides?
Hey, tell the committee that. Listen, I think this is. You could switch these if you want. If you want to go here, you could switch them. But
look at you on the telestrator there.
This has been 13 weeks, my friend. So I don't know.
No, but see, this is the thing. You're being so disrespectful right here to Tejas, okay? Leaving them out like that. You think Florida State can beat Texas?
And let me just say,
no, I don't.
To the people out there,
then why would we put them in there?
I keep receipts, right? And I wish we could run this back, because last week Sam and I had this specific discussion and said, if Alabama beats Georgia, do they get in over Texas?
Well,
Sam was like, oh, yeah.
That's true.
They're going to get in over Texas because but you got to have Texas in there.
I should move my name and put the committees in there, because I actually just put what I think the committee will do.
No doubt.
What Sam thinks.
But this is the thing. You even said it too. The committee, and even Heather said it on our show.
Sam thinks that Texas should get in.
Yeah.
This is what we should get from the committee.
Man,
because we all have the same 4.
This is fun.
But it's a difference between should and what we might get, and that's my concern. I don't think necessarily that Florida State is the best team, best top 4 in the country.
But you've heard Heather say it. It's not about who's deserving or whatever. They're literally just saying who are the best 4 teams in the country. And I think all of us can agree this is probably the best 4 teams in the country right now.
And to your point, Matt, and this is a text from a tweet from Heather Dinich just when the committee dropped their numbers. So she said, CFP Executive Director Bill Hancock said the committee's job is to rank the best teams in college football, and that most deserving is not anything in the committee's lexicon. They are there to rank the best teams in order, and that's what they do, so keep that in mind. FSU is the most deserving team, I'll give you that, but they are not the best team. And if the committee's job is to put in the best team, how do you leave Alabama and Texas out?
I'll say this. If Texas were to miss the playoff, they would become the first one-loss Power 5 conference champion to miss the playoffs since 2018, and that was Ohio State.
And
it hasn't happened often.
And we know how the committee feels about the SEC by the way that they've consistently ranked the SEC. Even when we were extremely hard on the SEC, when we ranked them, maybe third as the best conference in football, right? And this was like maybe week 2 or 3. It was early on in the year. Now, hey, we were messing with your hearts at home a little bit when we were doing that. But the committee thinks very highly of the SEC and its quality of play and the strength of schedule of even the lesser teams, in it. Now, Florida State has that victory over LSU.
Yeah.
But since then, there's not a lot to their name that they can claim as a great win, versus a quality opponent. And unfortunately, Louisville losing to Kentucky, a 5-loss football team a week ago, also doesn't help them if they beat them tonight in a close game.
All right, so based on our top 4, we all have the same top 4.
Yeah,
same
different ordering.
And mind you, we did not look at these. We did not know what each one of us was going to have. So I think that's really interesting, the fact that we still came up with the top 4 and the fact that you had Washington at number 1.
Well, I only did that just because of Michigan. They haven't played yet. So I kind of felt bad even putting them in there.
If Michigan wins the way that they're supposed to win.
If Michigan wins, it's going to be flipped. It's going to be Michigan 1, Washington 4, and I still have the rematch.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if Michigan doesn't?
Just because I want to see those matchups. That's just for me personally.
But do you think there's a chance that Washington is first? Which list here, chat, makes the most sense?
Michigan 1 is going to be the.
That's one that makes sense in terms of committee.
They're going to stay number 1. They're going to move up the ladder, right? They're going to be number 1.
You just shift everybody up.
Right. They're going to shift everybody up. Washington being number 2, undefeated Pac-12 champion. And then under that will be Texas, Alabama, if I had to guess exactly how the committee would do it.
I don't know. I think everybody is thinking in the mindset, it's Alabama and Texas. They're in. I just caution everybody because Florida State was number 4 this week.
You're right.
So
You're right. This would be
let's say they go
huge.
out and they beat Louisville. This game is about to be played. They could go out and win that game, and then it makes the committee's job a whole lot harder. I'm not saying they will get in, but
you're right. Into my veins, because coming into this week, there was one scenario where it would be complete and utter chaos. Bama win, that domino has fallen. FSU win, we're still yet to see if that has fallen, and if it does, utter chaos ensues. The committee, they are watching the games together this week, today, for the first time all year. So we're going to, they're having these same conversations right now. 13 people trying to decide which of these 4 teams. It is now left to Georgia, Alabama, and Texas. I guess if you want to throw in Ohio State for you Ohio State Buckeye fans, but just give it up.
Nah,
it's probably over for Ohio State.
But those 3 teams.
What's the most intriguing matchup to you? Now that we all have, our 4, what do you think the best matchup would be? Because we got the Rose Bowl, and then we got in New Orleans. 1 versus 4 in New Orleans, 2 versus 3 in the Rose Bowl.
If we could bring back our top 4, I would like to look at that because what we have here is Matt's, where it will be Washington versus Michigan. I would love that matchup because that Michigan defense. Who's the best quarterback they've seen all year?
That's right.
Talia Tagovailoa,
right? It's going to be this guy right here. It's comical.
It's going to be a shock to their system when they see that ball come out of Michael Penix's
They haven't seen
hand.
an offense, a coaching staff, and an aggressive nature the way that Washington plays. So that in itself will be somewhat of a culture shock for them. And also, their defensive backfield is really talented. So that would be such a fun matchup to see those two go against each other.
And then right off the bat, let's settle this, homie. Right here, Texas, Alabama.
Dude, I would love it.
Texas keeps on saying, we beat you in week 2. But Alabama says, we were a different team back then.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, let's get to it. Let's not even wait. Last year, we could have gotten the Ohio State-Michigan rematch, which I would have loved to see in the first round.
Yeah,
but then,
were we thinking?
Yeah, right?
Like, come on.
But we weren't able to get that. I would be so happy if we could get Texas and Alabama and then Michigan and Washington. It would be a great college football playoff.
I think with
Check this
all
out.
4 of these,
I like Matt's top 4 in terms of the matchups.
I think what's great about these 4 teams, though, I think the committee, you really can't make a mistake with who you match up with each other.
They're all pretty even this year.
I think they're all even. I think they all have certain strengths and weaknesses that play into each other. So a Michigan versus a Texas would be awesome. A Michigan versus an Alabama would be awesome. To see Washington versus any of the other three with their high-powered offense, Dylan Johnson after being healthy for a month, that would be a great matchup too. And of course, to see a rematch of Texas-Alabama, and what's taken place from the beginning of the year till now. I mean, all of these things, just great drama involved with every one of these matchups.
All right, so we did a little vote. Shout out to everyone working behind the scenes because they just asked it. They said, which CFP prediction list makes the most sense? We're approaching over 100 votes, so if you're in the chat, go ahead and vote. And Matt, right now, you're leading at 40%. They think yours is the best. Mine is 33%. Sam, you are behind at a 26%.
That's to be expected. That's to be expected because that was the AT&T countdown to the CFP National Championship. That's to be expected because when you look at how we picked games this year, it makes perfect sense.
But you're trying.
All right, has no real.
Hey! Alabama, baby. That was a big win for your boy.
He's creeping.
I know what.
I got FSU, too.
That's right.
I got some extra credit. I got to pick the MAC championship game, and I think I picked Liberty to win their game, so I got a couple extra ones in there that did not count for those guys. But, man, guys, it has been an awesome year of football, and there are going to be some teams that are not going to be sleeping too much tonight because they will be waiting to see what their fate holds with the College Football Playoff Selection Committee meeting tomorrow and deciding who will be the top four. Before we go, guys, this show does not happen with everybody working behind the scenes. We have had so many great people working on the show, and we just want to thank everybody. Our directors, Matt and Angela, our crew, Terrence, Justin, Courtney, Julius, DJ, Rachel, Mel, Matt, Tori, Joe G helping us out tonight, producing. And last but certainly not least, Brian, our producer, who was BD, but decided to skip out on the final week. What's up with that, BD?
How dare you?
Unbelievable. Thank you guys as well.
Love you guys.
It's been awesome.
This is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
This is awesome.
For
High five, Scoob.
Matt Sims, Skubie Mageza.
Come on,
I'm Sam Ravech. Last but certainly not least, thank you for watching the College Football Show presented by AT&T. We will see you in the semifinals. Stay tuned, folks.
Slow fade away.